Let's jump right in. I'm a digital marketing associate with SmartThoughts, and we've been helping associations and nonprofits navigate the wild world of software advisement since 2002. I'm so excited you're joining us for this explainer today. We're doing a deep dive, a completely vendor-neutral comparison of two absolute heavy hitters in the association management software space, GrowthZone and MemberClicks Professional. If you're a CEO, executive director, CFO, or sitting on a tech committee, you already know that choosing the right Tier 3 AMS is literally one of the most consequential decisions you're going to make. So let's make sense of this landscape together. Okay, let's dive into this because this exact question is the core thesis of our entire explainer. So often, we see associations comparing AMS systems way too fast. They look at a feature checklist, check out the pricing, sit through a quick demo, and bam, they make a call. But here's the reality. Selecting an AMS is fundamentally an operational fit decision. It absolutely depends on your specific membership structure, your strategic growth priorities, and your staff's actual day-to-day capacity. Both GrowthZone and MemberClicks Professional sit right in our SmartThoughts Smart Gauge Tier 3. But, as you'll see, they're entirely different kinds of AMS decisions. Here's how we're going to break it down today. First, we'll go beyond the feature list. Second, we'll look at membership structure and strategy. Third, financials and member experience. Fourth, staff capacity and implementation. And finally, we'll look at some crucial trade-offs. So, Section 1, Beyond the Feature List, Growth versus Consolidation. Okay, so here's the core architectural difference. GrowthZone is built entirely around a commercial CRM growth posture. Its primary focus is on member recruitment, literally moving prospects through a sales funnel and automating your marketing outreach. So if your strategy is heavy on acquisition, this is tailor-made for you. On the flip side, we have the Personify-owned MemberClicks Professional, which totally centers on operational consolidation. Its main goal is to replace a fragmented, messy tech stack. Juggling WordPress, MailChimp, and Eventbrite. It replaces all of that with one cohesive, highly supported environment. It really comes down to a platform architected for aggressive growth versus one architected for stability and consolidation. Now, before we go any further, we need to be clear about what it actually means to be a Tier 3 system, which both of these are. In the SmartThoughts framework, Tier 3 platforms target small to mid-size associations, usually with operating budgets up to about $2.5 million. Think of them as your Swiss Army knives. They take an all-in-one approach that gives you fantastic core functionality across the board. But keep in mind, neither of these platforms is going to give you the super complex enterprise-level accrual or fund accounting depth that a Tier 1 or Tier 2 solution would. They're robust, for sure, but they're built for a very specific scale. Moving on to Section 2, Membership Structure and Strategy. Simply put, who are your members? We really need to define this idea of membership structure fit. MemberClicks Professional is purpose-built specifically for associations where the members are individual professionals. So we're talking about continuing education tracking, customizable individual profiles, and career development workflows. GrowthZone, on the other hand, is uniquely designed to handle organizational memberships, and that is exactly why chambers of commerce, trade groups, and associations focused on company-level memberships absolutely gravitate toward it. This one distinction, individuals versus organizations, should massively shape your AMS decision. Now, what's really interesting here is how GrowthZone explicitly broadcasts its mission right in its tagline, drive growth with smarter association software. And I've got to say, that isn't just marketing fluff. It reflects the actual hard-coded functionality of the software. They include built-in sales funnels to track opportunities and monitor close rates. They're literally applying a commercial sales approach directly to member acquisition, which is a very specific, highly proactive strategy for generating non-dues revenue. All right, Section 3, Financials and Member Experience, Workflows and Integrations. When we look at accounting, MemberClicks relies on third-party financial connections to systems like QuickBooks and Microsoft Dynamics GP, running alongside its native revenue reporting. GrowthZone offers integrated payments and recently beefed up its QuickBooks Online integration, allowing for near real-time transaction transfers. Then, if we pivot to the web experience, MemberClicks really shines with its exclusive review panel feature. This is an absolute game changer for credentialing professional associations that have to process grants, scholarships, and abstract submissions. GrowthZone counters that with a super engaging member-facing info hub, plus a dedicated mobile staff app that lets your team manage contacts and event check-ins entirely on the go. Okay, on to Section 4, Staff Capacity and Implementation. Essentially, who's doing the heavy lifting? This brings us to a major reality check for a lot of associations. Feature parity on a spreadsheet doesn't matter one bit if your staff doesn't have the bandwidth to actually manage the system. So the crucial point is understanding exactly how these platforms get off the ground. MemberClicks operates on a vendor-managed white glove implementation model. They hook you up with dedicated account managers and access to client communities, acting as a vital safety net for small staff associations that just don't have internal IT resources. GrowthZone, however, is known as a highly efficient, configuration-driven, out-of-the-box setup. While it's incredibly capable, this model assumes your organization naturally has a higher baseline of internal administrative capacity to actually handle that setup and ongoing administration. And we definitely see this difference reflected in peer reviews. Actually, both platforms receive fantastic marks for customer service across sites like G2 and Capterra. MemberClicks users frequently call out the hands-on nature of the vendor team right from day one. Meanwhile, GrowthZone is repeatedly praised by its user base for having world-class support that makes clients feel like they have a true partner, especially when they're leveraging those out-of-the-box tools to do way more in much less time. Which brings us to Section 5, Crucial Trade-offs. Because, let's be real, neither platform is perfect. As an advisory firm, we at SmartThoughts know that increasing your complexity awareness is hands down the best way to prevent buyer's remorse. Let's start with the trade-offs for MemberClicks. Its greatest strength, that simplicity and consolidation, can actually be its limitation. Peer reviews point out that its integration with advanced community platforms like HigherLogic is sometimes described as a bit clunky. For organizations that really need highly specialized, complex marketing workflows, the system is occasionally characterized as being slightly bare bones. Plus, while it does feature integrated website hosting, if you want a deeply customized, highly professional look, someone on your team is probably going to need to know some HTML or CSS. And this brilliantly illustrates the other side of the coin for GrowthZone. Because it is such a fantastic out-of-the-box solution, you might run into design constraints if your association requires really extensive tailoring. It generally lacks the depth for highly customized multi-tier chapter management that a Tier 1 or Tier 2 system would easily handle. And again, because it's so configuration-driven, you have to be absolutely sure you have the internal staff capacity to properly set it up and actually maximize those awesome built-in marketing automation tools. So let's wrap this up with one final crucial question. Does your technology actually match your organizational DNA? As we've seen today, there's no universal winner here. If you're an individual professional association looking for white glove support to consolidate a messy tech stack, MemberClicks might just be your perfect fit. But if you're a chamber of commerce or a trade group focusing on organizational members, heavily driven to acquire new members through sales funnels, and you actually have the staff to run it, then GrowthZone presents a wildly compelling narrative. The right choice is the operational fit that empowers your specific staff and your specific membership. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep analyzing, keep asking those tough questions about operational fit, and we'll see you next time.